Okay, so the front heel elevated, rear foot elevated split squat is a mouthful, but also a really great quad exercise. I'll show you a couple reps and then we will break it down. So there are 4 components of the movement that we're going to go over. The first is going to be the height of the back leg. Now, as you can see, I'm using plates, not the bench. And if you want to know how high your back leg should be, a really easy drill for you to do is just get down into a split squat and then try and pick up this back leg. And you'll notice that it doesn't come up very high, right? And so the bench, well, if you only have a bench, it's okay, you can use a bench. But as you can see, that's way higher than where my back leg just was. And so it's probably a little bit outside my active range. Now, if you only have a bench, use the bench, put your laces down, it's gonna be fine, it's not the end of the world, but if you have all the options, a lower step or a pair of bumper plates could be much, much better for you. It's also gonna allow you to keep that toe down, which is gonna allow us to generate more force through that back leg. Second and most important part is what's happening with the front leg. Because we're trying to work the quads, we want to push that front knee out over the toe. And so as your hips are descending straight down, we want to think about letting that front knee drive forward. Hips straight down, front knee drives forward over the toe. Next, when we're looking at torso position, we want a nice upright torso as you've seen me do in these demonstration reps. When we're working glutes, whether that's an RDL or a Bulgarian split squat or a glute dominant back squat, we have a lot of hip flexion, a lot of forward leaning, because that really helps engage the glutes. When we want to work the quads, we want to keep the glutes out of it. So a nice upright torso will help us keep the glutes out of it and keep this more quad dominant. So as our hips descend straight down, I like to think about keeping my gaze forward. If I look down, I tend to lean forward. If I look here, it tends to help me keep my chest nice and upright and help keep the glutes out of it. Now, last thing I want to talk about is the stride length. I'm going to pause at the bottom and I just want you to look at the angle or the line between my knee, my hip, and my shoulder. It should be in a nice straight line. Right? Between my knee, my hip, and my shoulder should be a nice straight line. If I bring my stride in too close, you'll see that I can't maintain that and my hips will start to flex. All right, I'm good. And as I start to get down here, my hips want to flex and that knee wants to drive forward. And so that's one way you know that your stride might be too short and your stride might be too long. If you see my leg on a backward angle, you'll see here. As I start to descend, this leg is angled back towards the plates here and really puts way too much tension on that front leg hip flexor. So quick recap and then I'll show you some more reps. Number 1, we want the height of the back leg to match how high your leg can come up if you begin in a split stance on the ground. So try that drill if you never have. If you don't have bumper plates or a customizable step height, you can use a bench or a roller pad or the Smith machine with your hip thrust pad. That's all fine. If you're going to use any of those, just keep your laces down. And if you're using the bumper plates and you have your toe down, make sure to be driving through that back leg as well, even though the front leg is the more important piece. From there, we want to keep a nice upright torso, drive the front knee forward, and let our hips descend straight down to the ground. You know your stride length is perfect if you can get that knee, hip, shoulder to be in a nice straight line at the bottom of the rep here.